Ladies and gents, good morning. My name is Khurram Naqvi, and in today's presentation, I'll take you through all the different phases of a digital transformation framework that contribute towards the successful implementation of digital transformation in any organization. The digital transformation framework is like a foundation of a successful digital transformation program. Each and every of its 5 phases plays a significant role in the successful implementation of a digital transformation initiative. These 5 phases are exploration, vision, determination, approach, implementation. Now in the forthcoming slides, I'll take you through all these phases one by one. Exploration is the earliest phase in the digital transformation framework. It focuses on the analysis required to understand the current business models using proven business modeling techniques across customer experience and employee experience. It focuses on defining and measuring the current competitiveness of a business model and also on how resilient it is for future competition and market shift. Taking advantage of exploration phase is extremely important because it provides the inputs required to commence a digital transformation via the evaluation phase of the framework. Exploration phase is also not just a one-off activity. As we learn more through implementation across each business model, this can mean that the original investment decisions can be modified and reconsidered. Exploration phase defines the starting point and the end point of a digital transformation program. That is where an organization wants to be and where it is today. Where an organization wants to be is actually the essence of the digital transformation roadmap. That is setting a vision and strategy for future where the leadership team and enterprise wants to be in 3 to 5 years from now and the plan to get there. But getting to your destination doesn't work unless you know where you are starting from. And this is where the process of business modeling or exploration comes in. The exploration phase is focused on two distinct things, that is improvement and opportunities. The distinction between the two is that the improvement business model consider existing models that are currently in place, while the opportunity business model, on the other hand, looks at new business models that can leverage the competitive advantages offered through a digital transformation. Within each business model, that is improvement and opportunities, we also cover off what the customer and employee experience is or it will be in the future. For improvement business models, we try to understand the unique experiences and journeys that the organization went through, the current characteristics of that business models which are in place, and how they can be applied to the future markets. In contrast, the opportunities focus on new products and business models. So it is a case of starting with a completely blank canvas and creating a brand new business models. Taking this canvas, the organization looks at the unique attributes that give it a competitive edge across organization assets such as their intellectual property. Now, there are less than 50% of the organization who pursue digital transformation for the sake of creating new products. The bulk of organization look at fixing and exponentially improving on what they have in terms of their products. But it doesn't mean that there isn't an opportunity for new products to be created and launched through digital transformation. In fact, these ideas can become eventually extremely profitable products. One example is Amazon Web Services, which is a side hustle launched by Amazon in 2006. This is now making $9 billion revenue every quarter for Amazon. In fact, it is considered to be the most successful cloud provider in the market today. Therefore, digital transformation should not only be viewed as a way of changing of what you already have to increase revenue or decrease cost. Above all, it should focus on customer value. It should look at all the options to generate customer value via both existing and potential business model. So simply put, we do exploration in a digital transformation framework because it helps quantifying the potential for customer value. After exploration, vision is a key phase in a digital transformation program. It is an aspiration of where an organization wants to be. A short, simple, and succinct definition of vision is a strategic plan that guides an organization, including its people, to reach their agreed goals. These goals are not needed to be micro level. It is also not a set of catchy phrases that appeal to people's sense of values and ethics. It can be described by three simple words, that is, why, how, and what. Why are we making a particular product? If you can answer that and make it compelling enough, then you win over your customers and employees. Therefore, you need to start with a why. And the best way to find your why is by telling stories. When the leaders start telling stories why a digital transformation is important, then the vision itself has a real context. Stories do not need to be complex, but they need to inspire action. Here is an example on the screen of a local garden center that I have created as an example for a digital transformation story with simple and plain language, as there is no need to use jargons in your stories. So the story says that we have been providing local households a facility to purchase plants, seeds, topsoil, and gardening accessories for over 20 years. We are a family-owned business, but external challenges such as technology and competition means that our competitors can do it cheaper and better. Based on the current trends, we will be out of business in 5 years' time. We need to change to survive, remain competitive, and continue to provide genuine products that we are known for. As you can see, I have used a plain and simple language, as there is no need to use jargons because we have a fairly large audience. I have highlighted what challenges the organization faces and created a time box. Time boxes make things look real and create a sense of urgency. After you have created a why, then it is a case of following it with what, which is the ambitious outcome of the digital transformation program. So how in practice the digital transformation visions are created? The first step is to involve the entire organization. Now this is not practical for large organization, as you can't get the whole organization to attend workshops. But it is quite practical to include them in the journey of creating the vision by using digital tools. So running online employee forums and surveys and getting their input, and then creating executive level champions who are the voices of both customer and employees. Once key themes are identified, then this forms the basis of creating a vision statement. And from there, it is a case of being radical, creating audacious aspirations that are required to be at the forefront when it comes to dealing with disruption. So first step is to involve the organization. Second step is to identify the themes. And the third step is start creating the vision statement. Typical questions that help this process include: what impact should our brand have on the world? How do we want to interact and be valued by our customers? What would our culture look like? What things will become our norm? And once the vision is defined, the work doesn't stop. It needs to be communicated and championed at the most senior levels of the organization. It needs to be communicated and reinforced regularly and used as a reference point while making decisions in digital transformation. And most importantly, it must be believed in. If the employees do not buy into the digital transformation vision, then this digital transformation is not going to be successful. The next phase in a digital transformation program is determination phase. The best way to think of the determination phase is it is a point at which an organization leadership make their commitments to a digital transformation. The determination phase relies upon two decision points. Number one, what do we invest in? And number two, what do we divest? In determination phase, there are a number of activities that need to take place. Firstly, a leadership team responsible for the digital transformation needs to be assembled. This team consists of people who have skin in the game. They need to have the most to gain from a digital transformation and the most to lose if the digital transformation fails. Normally, this consists of the Chief Executive Officer, CEO, Chief Information Officer, CIO, Chief Marketing Officer, CMO, Chief Customer Officer, Chief Operating Officer, COO, and other senior executives. Now, in addition, there's a new role that needs to be created if it does not already exist, and that role is called the role of a Chief Digital Officer, CDO. The CDO is effectively the CEO of digital transformation. Now, as you can see, the theme here is seniority. If the people filling the leadership roles on a digital transformation program are not senior enough, the transformation will not be taken seriously enough. Having senior leaders present in the program signals that we are serious about making it work. But having senior leadership appointed is one thing, and continuously showing up is another thing. It is easy to fall into the trap of living on the initial excitement of a digital transformation at its inception. But maybe at 12th month, second year, third or fourth year, it becomes a marathon, and the steam may start diminishing. So executives get distracted by operation and burning issues and delegate the responsibilities out to the subordinates. Therefore, it is quite vital that executives are committed to the long haul of responsibilities on a digital transformation program. And it just does not mean showing up to the governance meetings and doing occasional town halls either. It means championing digital transformation every day in their communications and setting expectation across the organization. Now, once the employees hear the message and it is repeated over and over again, they will start getting it. Now, once the leadership team is established, they need to make decisions on the investment and divestments. So if we go back to the exploration phase, we know that there are two types of business models. That is the existing business models, which are called improvement business models, and then there are new business models which are called opportunities. Now, during the determination phase, these business models are thoroughly examined based on the extensive pre-work done through the digital transformation business modeling to determine where the investments should be made. Now, key considerations for the leadership team include, firstly, what is the future viability of current business models? This looks at the competition, external threats, as well as the strengths and weaknesses inherent within each business model. By asking the question that what value does the business model offer, we try to understand if it makes sense to invest in those business models, particularly if the business model is already in the state of a terminal decline. This looks at the customer and employees' experience with that business model. By identifying where there is current friction and what the potential value is that could be unlocked by fixing that friction, the management then gets a sense of the potential value of each business model. Executives like early good news stories that validate their decision making. So there will be pressure in a digital transformation to achieve early benefits. This is what improvement business models takes care of. And finally, the last consideration is where can we create new business models? A key part of the determination phase is to consider new business models and products which are referred as opportunities business model that can move an organization towards a new world of value and viability. Once the funding is committed and investment has been made, this needs to be communicated across the organization. At the conclusion of the determination phase, there is one more decision that has to be made. It is whether to divest in any business models. Digital transformation business modeling is likely to identify those business models which are no longer viable and feasible. External disruption or even internal weaknesses could result in significant depreciation of the value generated by those business models. Therefore, the responsibility sits with the leadership group to identify whether divestment of a business model needs to take place to avoid wasted investment of time and resources. The transformation approach phase covers four foundations: organization, experience, technology, and agile practices. These foundations need to be established in advance of the implementation phase and could happen in parallel to the determination phase. But it should never precede the vision phase, as it relies and depends on a clear vision to be in place. So let's go through these foundations and what they are made of. With organization, we have leadership. The strategy for leadership focuses on identifying and attracting talented leaders who all share and are bought into the vision of the digital transformation. They should also be digitally savvy and understand the value that digital transformation will bring. They also need to be business builders. When it comes to enhancing existing business models or building new ones from scratch, they need to have the skill and drive to make it happen. And finally, specialists in design thinking, software, and other business building domains. And then there is cross-functionality, which expects abandonment of silos and a real emphasis on people from all parts of an organization coming together to make the transformation happen. There is an emphasis on co-location, sitting together and face-to-face over desk interactions. It also means an end to formalities around booking meetings and going through formal engagement work, which triples the amount of work in the delivery of a digital transformation program. Instead, it's all about the cross-functional teams of people who share the same vision and are all heading in the same direction. Each team member brings their unique blend of business, innovation, and technical skills that, when harnessed together, create real potential focus on execution and making the transformation a success. This means teams should all have the skills required to execute and deliver increments of value to customer and employees. The next foundation is experience. This establishes the design, playbook, and guide rails that will be used during the digital transformation. A playbook is a set of guidelines and strategies of how design will work. And design in this context refer to customer experience and employee experience, and ranges from user interface in digital transformation, employee tools, right through to process and products that customer and employees will be using. In addition, design will include things like style guides, which defines the specifics and norms of user interface design for a transformation. It should also include a research function. Experience research is a vital function in any digitally mature organization. These people spend countless hours engaging with customers and employees, understanding their psychology and behavior in response to the new ideas that the organizations are working upon. Then we have technology. Digital transformation relies heavily upon digital technology for success. So establishing a strategy around technology and data is paramount. And the last foundation of the approach phase is agile practices. And this encompasses a range of key principles for consideration and implementation. First up is agile product management, and this ensures self-managing teams who are highly adaptive to change, led by capable product owners working on a tool for feature delivery to customer and employees. At the heart of every team, there is a mindset of achieving exponential growth using agile practices. So the last phase in the digital transformation program is the implementation phase, which is a phase in which all the time and effort spent in exploration, vision, determination, and approach come together and a realization of benefits begin. During the previous phases, we spent a lot of time validating the business models to confirm their viability and value. But it's not until we actually implement those business models, either through enhancement or creating a completely new business model. Although it is quite important to go through the preceding phases of this framework, however, the focus should be to get on with the implementation phase as soon as possible. So there are actually three foundations in the implementation. Number one is agile product management. Number two is improvement business models, and number three is new opportunities business models. The agile product management foundation is the practical application of the transformation approach. So in implementation, we actually see agile being used in practice. So taking a step back, let's see why agile, and in particular Scrum, is so important here. So it all comes down to time. When we implement a digital transformation, we are presented with two choices. That is, define requirements, and for next 12 to 18 months going through iterations of requirement, which involves working across an organization to nail down exactly what we want out of our existing and new business model. And then we start delivering on those requirements and wait for another 12 to 18 months before we see the first glimpses of what it is that we started 2 years earlier to deliver. And then we work out if the previous phases of exploration, vision, determination, and approach um, have all been correct or not. Now, this approach is called waterfall methodology. The alternate choice is don't define the requirements upfront. Instead, focus is on delivering value to customers and employees as soon as possible through increments of features based on just-in-time requirements. As increments are released, there are opportunities to test and learn and use it to further improve upon what is being released or move into the next feature. Bonus is that the customers and employees will receive value all the time, and this is the beauty of Agile. Now, which option one should choose? I really hope the one that delivers value to the customer every 2 to 4 weeks and not wait for 2+ years to do that. Now, another reason of using Agile is that digital transformation involves a lot of complexity and unknowns. Whilst implementation is our first real opportunity to test a hypothesis obtained during business modeling um, in the discovery phase. The waterfall methodology would only work well when the requirements are clear and the technology is also clear. But creating customer and employee value is often an opaque proposition, hence why we create hypotheses. Only the customers and the employees can really define for you what value look like for them. So the most effective way that this is done is through experimenting via test and learn cycles, where hypotheses are proven or disproven. And the third argument is disruption. It is not a static threat. It is a daily and continually evolving proposition. If you create detailed requirements today, then it is guaranteed that within 3 to 6 or 12 months, they will not be valid anymore. Therefore, waterfall is just far too risky. Now, wrapping up, Agile Product Management Foundation, customer value, backlog and cross-functional teams, along with fortnightly to 4 weekly increments of releasable feature are needed for the implementation phase. Now, in addition, as many organizations grow, their maturity around digital transformation using agile project management techniques, developing execution skills and experience becomes far too important. To do this, the organizations will rotate people through teams to build up a portfolio of cross-functional execution knowledge. And this is where backfilling becomes important. It means that as team members move out of the delivery teams and someone new replaces them with skills that will broaden out the skill base of anyone in the team. Now let's discuss the other two foundations of the execution of the implementation, which are based on the exploration and determination phases. The two categories are improvement business models and new opportunity business model. Improvement business models are stable generators of cash flow and hold a solid market share, but their business models have started losing traction. So often with some short and sharp fixes, for example, fixing customer experience where there are inefficient touch points, these business models can return to strong growth. They also provide a way of early experimentation and maturing the ways of working required for broader digital transformation success. They could also be more complex existing business models that have the potential to generate continued exponential value. They also provide potential leverage economies of scale from investment made in technology, process and other resources that portfolio of business model all share. And the last category is new opportunity business models. that are new business model that through a unique confluence of organization, specific assets and capabilities, coupled with digital transformations, have strong potential to generate exponential value. And the agile and the approach for delivering both opportunities and improvement business model will be agile product management. The wrapper around both these categories is that they will remain ongoing initiatives and need to continually evolve. There is no end date of a digital transformation. Thank you very much for listening to this presentation.